everybody, and welcome back to TPKhaos. Today we are looking at the 2024 Player's Handbook, and I'm joined by Matt, Zion, and Billy. Not playing characters today. We are just people.
Yeah, right. Hardly.
I'm a person.
No,
I'm people.
you're a people.
No. Sorry, we gotta go back to the thing. There you go. Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
That thing.
What thing are you doing? What are we doing?
So I can't respond to that in the normal way because it's going to sound hella weird. So,
Oh,
because you said, what thing are we doing? And I just called Zion a thing. So we're going to have to separate that out there a little bit, Billy.
no.
There's your fucking intro right there.
Oh God.
All right, Zion, we're doing you today. Let's go.
The plan for today is to look at the thing chapter by chapter and talk about what's new and what's different and get our general feels and opinions because most of us are going in completely blind.
Yeah, I have no idea.
So you're going to get a live reaction to almost all the new stuff, more or less.
I've seen other people's opinions of it, but I haven't gone through it. Most people seem disappointed, but sometimes the people that are disappointed are the loudest voices, so you don't,
you can't trust them.
Yeah.
I know less than 1% of what's in this book, so
personally, I'm more worried about them trying to power creep upwards because I think they need to nerf that a little bit and make the game a little higher regulated to where.
Well, no, they've definitely gone down, yeah. Because the only thing I've heard is the power builders and people like me that get enjoyment from breaking the game have bitched and moaned a lot.
I mean, they need to keep some of that in there, but don't completely break the game.
Yeah, you can absolutely destroy entire campaigns if you really try hard enough.
But see, it goes back to I asked Caleb this earlier. He said that the actual monster guide doesn't come out for another year or whatever because they don't do entire books anymore. Why would you? So if the monsters haven't been reworked to kind of balance with the new rules, the fucking old monsters are going to murder all of the new players.
Yeah.
Because there is no checks and balances. I was bitching and moaning about the Great Weapon Master Lucky thing, just to give an example. At level 1, there are a handful of monsters. You fail one save. Oh, fuck you, die. In Bill's first campaign that we ever did, it was, I don't remember what it was, but I failed one check, and it instantly set my character's health to 0. Just death immediately, yeah?
Yeah.
If there's nothing to balance that shit out, then it's just, oh, is this real life with just actual monsters and just everyone dies?
Yeah. That was the campaign with Volst, right?
That was, and Volst got fucked up first day on the job.
I'm trying to think of what that was.
Didn't we have Sea Hags? Wasn't that it? There was Sea
Hags.
Hags.
Oh, yeah.
Probably so.
I think it was that. I think it was a Sea Hag.
That was a fun adventure.
That campaign started on a ship.
But yeah, so that's kind of the big thing, right? I'm all for, them kind of cleaning it up and kind of killing some of the really stupid builds. But by that same token, don't you then make the monsters more egregious with their bullshit? Because there's nothing to protect us against it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it needs to be a balance and balanced against each other so that way they interact properly in the game setting.
Absolutely.
You don't want to overpower, you don't want to underpower, but that's a very delicate balance.
It is.
As we all can attest to being dungeon masters,
Yeah.
Will they successfully pull that off? Probably not.
Well, let's see. Let's take a look at these rules. Do we skip straight to chapter 1 or do we need to look at the introduction? Did they change anything in the introduction?
It doesn't seem like it. They give a role play example, go over rules of the glossary. So how to play, like using it as a role-playing game, but we kind of all know that if you're looking at these rules, you probably have a lot of experience already.
This is actually something good, though. Go to Worlds of Adventure real quick.
Worlds of Adventure, and
what's new in this? It kind of just gives you like an
overall...
Oh,
nice. So this is the 2024 version of the 5th edition Player's Handbook. If you've read the 2014 version, much of this book will feel familiar since the fundamental rules of the game are the same. But the book contains many new or redesigned elements, and the versions of things in this book replace versions from older books. Here are the highlights. Streamlined rules, easier character creation, enhanced classes, reimagined origins, expanded feats, upgraded weapons, tools, and crafting, and dazzling spells. Is that like a specific type of spells? Chapter 7 bursts with new spells and old ones. Okay, no, it's just
refurbished spells. Go ahead and skip to the rules glossary, I guess.
Okay, rules glossary. Rules glossary. What are they looking for? Tags and brackets? What? Oh,
lots of things.
So this is actually nice because this didn't exist in the other book. So basically, it's just the book knows that it saves space by kind of like slamming words together, and sometimes it wasn't always exactly correct in what it meant. But most people know or clear. But like most of these are what people who play the game just phonetically call it as you play it. So they kind of like R is ritual. Okay, well that's kind of fucked up. I've never called it a ritual.
Well, it's
for spell components.
Yeah, it's for spell components.
Yeah, I recognize that immediately. Like whenever I'm looking through the book, if I see R, I know that means ritual.
Doesn't it just say the word ritual next to the spell?
No,
though?
It just has an R
not
tag.
next to the spell. Yeah.
Ah, okay.
It has a unique symbol with an R in it.
Ritual spells are trash. That's why I've never seen or used one.
What they are overpowered.
We don't use rituals.
It's unlimited spell casting. They're fantastic.
Do y'all remember when during onednd they were putting out videos and they made a mention about how you had to unlock ritual casting for certain classes, and we were like, what?
That's nice.
Right? Like, oh hell no. I got it written down in this book. I'm gonna do what it says and you're gonna cast it.
No, that was like in the original. That was in the original book too. Like the 2014 version had that, and I was like,
yeah, you had to unlock.
That's been a thing.
You had to get the ritual.
I've always just
cast
it as a ritual if I needed. I didn't know I had to unlock that.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah, it should at least be for if that's like your school of study or whatever.
There's those new actions for you, Zion.
Okay, here are the actions. So we've got attack, dash, disengage, dodge, help, hide. Those are the normal ones. Influence, magic, ready, search, study, utilize. 6 new actions.
6 whole new actions.
So what are the new ones? Are influence,
magic, ready, search, study, and utilize. Interesting.
So let's go ahead and start with the first one with influence.
Yeah, they just gave it a new name, but I guarantee this is going to be like a charisma check.
Influence. With the influence action, you urge a monster to do something. Describe or role play how you're communicating with the monster. You are trying to deceive, intimidate, amuse, or gently persuade. The DM then determines whether the monster feels willing, unwilling, or hesitant due to your interaction. This determination establishes whether an ability check is necessary, as explained below. Willing, if your urging aligns with the monster's desire, no ability check is necessary. Unwilling, if your urging is repugnant to the monster or counter to its alignment, no ability check is necessary. It doesn't comply. Okay. And then hesitant, if you urge the monster to do something that it is hesitant to do, you must make an ability check, which is affected by the monster's attitude, indifferent, friendly, or hostile. I recognize these from onednd.
Mhm.
Each of which is defined in this glossary. Okay.
Yeah, scroll down just a little bit more. It's not all charisma. There's one fucking wisdom just
Wisdom,
shoved in there.
animal handling.
But yeah, so
Well, that
basically,
makes sense.
And intimidation and deception, but the wisdom.
so I think the only thing, because we already do these things, this is kind of normal, unless there is a class-specific ability that allows you to like make an influence on a creature, either like for a spell or like an ability, like a bard maybe.
Like a charm monster spell or something.
I could see
Yeah.
that influencing our game though, because sometimes we'll try to influence with our words while taking our action. So this
You're
is
right.
kind of saying you can't do that. You're either doing one or the other. You
I've
can't
also-
attack and you can't influence, you know.
I was also looking at it from the perspective, a lot of times those rules are, or those rulings are homebrewed in. Like, right? Like we might say this is going to be your action, but we're just saying it's taking your action. And a lot of people do this. A lot of dungeon masters will allow for this type of action to take into effect, but it's all homebrewed. There was never a rule for such interactions. And it looks
Well, I
like
mean,
that
it
they've
kinda feels
taken
like
it looks
basic
like they've taken
roleplay.
consideration of the fact of like, what do players do all the time? Well, a lot of times they try to communicate with their enemies. So let's make that a normal action. Let's give them the ability to communicate so that new players have something to work with, so that they
Yeah,
can know that this is a possibility and there's rules for it.
Yeah, because I routinely try to end a battle without killing. So that way, like
Yeah.
once they're beat down, then you're like, hey, you know.
So even if it doesn't affect us necessarily, I like this because new players will have this as an option for what they can do.
I'd also like to point out they started, instead of saying like enemy, they're just saying monster. So a monster could be considered like an NPC, like a soldier or a guard or something
Yeah,
along those lines. So there's a
Anything found in the
difference
monster
between-
manual,
as well.
essentially.
Yes.
Interesting.
So a monster
right.
is a creature now, because it used to be a creature was any person, animal, or monster.
Now it is
Yeah,
anything that's against the players. It is considered a monster. Because they do say like under the animal handling, a beast or monstrosity, and those are capitalized.
Oh, they are. You're right.
Those are specifically like pointed out. That is a
Interesting.
clear separation.
So they've used specific tags for those, but then yeah, you can see lowercase monster on all the others. So that's interesting. All right.
Anything else you guys want to talk about this, or are we free to
Yeah,
move
go
on to
back
magic?
to the
Yeah, I want to see the others.
They're exactly what they're exactly what you kind of think. Search.
They are.
Yeah.
Is there any special rulings that we
what
should
are
talk
the
about?
implications on it? Because that could be important.
I specifically want to talk about magic because it is a
Yeah.
very controversial one.
Magic is the big one. But
magic-
so to skip through it real quick, search, hide, utilize, all of those are skill checks that can now be performed as an action in battle, and it's up to the DM to kind of like work it in there.
So as
the
opposed to
same-
using the skills,
Yeah.
as opposed to just simply saying, I would like to make an investigation check. You say, I would like to make a search check, and then you choose
Or
like
a
Well, no,
search-
investigation or whatever.
I would
like-
like to use the search action.
Search
Or-
action, thank you.
or
or
the study
influence,
or
yeah.
utilize.
Basically, they're
Okay,
trying to
so
give
they've
you
basically
a toolkit.
taken skills and give attached actions to them.
Yeah,
So
because they're
you
giving
can't
you a
just be
toolkit.
like, I need to look around this place a little better. It's like, well, in order for you to do that, you have to use the search action. So that will use your action in
Interesting.
Which
battle.
is fine, because we kind of all intuitively add that to our games anyway. So that
That's true.
doesn't feel like it negatively affects the game.
No,
feel
it
like
really
it
just
is
puts
limiting
words and
some
rules to
aspect.
it. It really just puts words and rules to it for new players, which I like.
Mhm.
But
Yeah,
now,
that's pretty
if there's anything that they change to say that certain things can't be done with certain actions, it's now talking about the action of all of these 12 things.
Mhm.
So we'll see. Because that also means that high-level enemies that do action bind, well, congratulations, that means you can technically no longer talk. You can't influence. you can't utilize, you can't fucking do anything. But magic is definitely the big one. I'm reading this now, and
let's look
It
at that
doesn't
then.
seem any
So,
different.
when you take
Magic
magic
action.
action, you cast a spell that has a casting time of an action or use a feature or magic item that requires a magic action to be activated. If you cast a spell that has a casting time of 1 minute or longer, you must take the magic action on each turn of that casting. You must maintain concentration while you do so. If your concentration is broken, the spell fails, but you don't expend a spell slot. See also concentration.
So they turned it around. Instead of the magic spell saying that it takes an action, now your action is the magic spell.
That's weird.
The description always stated that the spell consumes an action.
Yeah.
So now they won't do that.
This is very important to keep in mind for later on when things say like action surge or something like that, to see if they change the wording. Because before, people would take like 2 levels in fighter, get action surge, and then they'd be able to cast 2 spells in a turn.
Yeah. But it doesn't say anything about limiting the amount of spells you can cast on here.
Oh, you're also right about that.
That might be changed, but that is a very important thing. So that means you might be able to take like a bonus action like Misty Step and then cast like Burning Hands.
So wait, action surge, if I remember rightly, just gave you 2 actions, right?
It gave you an extra action.
It gave you an extra action.
Yeah. So theoretically, because now magic is an action, you could still do the 2 spells on a single turn with the action. Or with a
but this
action
doesn't
surge.
You would think if they're going to limit it to like you can only cast 1 leveled spell like are in the old rules, you'd think they would put that rule here.
You would think, but I guess we'll also have to look in the magic section specifically.
So the casting time of 1 minute or longer,
which is essentially one use of the magic action per turn until enough turns have passed where you can successfully cast the spell.
10 turns for fucking 1 spell.
Yeah, nobody uses that. Nobody uses a single minute long spell.
Unless it's like combat. A teleportation spell and you're trying to get out of there.
That's true. But
still.
That's rare.
You must take the magic action
every single turn. But if you lose concentration on that spell, you don't lose a spell slot, which is an important distinction.
Which we've kind of done stuff like that before, where we have wanted to cast spells over a period of time during combat, and we've said, okay, you have to spend your action just casting the spell.
But yeah, if you fail though, it fucking takes it away from you. We don't give it back.
Yeah, that's an important distinction.
Yeah, you're right. You don't get your action back. However, you don't lose the spell slot, which is good.
None of us are stupid enough to try and cast a spell that lasts for a minute in the middle of combat.
I'm starting to. I've had a realization. I'm pretty sure all of these new actions exist not for current players, because current players do all of these things. It seems like this is likely, aside from the magic action, which even then still has some rules that players still abide by. Sounds like all of these are here just to explain to new players how old players play the game.
Yeah, like they have on here ready. That's just your ready action to use your action as a reaction, which we all know and do. But now they have it listed in here instead of as a separate rule.
Which actually, does that still use your reaction?
Yes, I just read it.
That does still your okay. I figured, but I was wanting to know.
They're basically for new players, they're trying to give you an idea of like how the old guys ran it, which ain't bad.
They're just basically refining the rules, it seems, at least in these early stages. All right, so
it's only taken 10 fucking years. I guess that's something.
They tried it with onednd, so they've been working on it, but
where's
onednd wasn't smart.
While you move on to the next one, where's my fucking crits at? Did they still fuck those up?
No, it's still it isn't a part of those rules. If you want to take a look,
what section do I need to look at next?
It's the rules glossary still.
Hey, but right underneath your actions, you have advantage.
Rules
A
glossary,
roll
bottom right
can't
side.
be affected by more than
Oh,
one
whatever. I'll click
advantage.
on this. Sorry, I thought we were done with the rules glossary. What are we looking at next?
We're looking at critical hits.
Well, so to go back to what Bill was saying, that's already a normal thing, Billy.
Is it? Well, I was thinking like the luck or adding that, getting like triple advantage. Does that still fly?
Yeah, but they don't call it triple advantage. So basically, you're rolling with advantage one time, and then you are re-rolling one die. We call it triple advantage because that's what it is. But in a normal game, it's just advantage. Oh, it's still shit. Re-roll again.
All right, so crits. Yeah, I was wondering about this as well earlier.
Did they fuck it up?
It's about the same. For an attack roll, you score. If you roll a 20 on the d20 for an attack roll, you score a critical hit, and the attack hits regardless of any modifiers on the target's AC. If critical hit lets you roll an extra dice for the attack's damage against the target. Roll all of the attack's damage dice twice, add them together, then add any relevant modifiers.
Good.
So you don't double modifiers, you don't do anything crazy. It's just double dice modifier.
Yeah.
Got rid of that one D&D shit where it was like melee attacks only. Fuck yourself, it's gone. Good. Thank you. Thank you for not ruining the game.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Oh,
mages can't crit, so fuck all mages.
Now it does say roll the attacks damage twice. Didn't the old rule say roll the weapons damage twice? It did say roll all the damage die.
Yes.
Ooh.
We could pull up the 2014 rulebook if we wanted to.
You're right.
Well, so now keep in mind, weapon mastery is a thing. We're gonna get to that later, but the actual attack of a weapon might have different meanings. So if you use a weapon's like action, I guess that may have different benefits to just the weapon's attack damage.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna have to see, because I know people are saying that it's basically Elden Ring's fucking Ashes of War.
What are we looking at next?
Heroic inspiration. All the way down in H.
Oh yeah.
Heroic inspiration. So
wait, was dehydration always a thing?
No.
I don't think so.
We'll get to that next.
We'll get back to that in a minute. If you, a player character, have heroic inspiration, you can expend it to roll any die immediately after rolling it, and you must use the new roll. If you gain heroic inspiration but already have it, it's lost unless you give it to a player character who lacks it. So it's like the inspiration from oned&d. This is exactly this is pulled straight from there.
Not exactly. Didn't we used to use regular inspiration as advantage? This is just a re-roll.
This is a straight re-roll, not advantage.
Wasn't that how? Because every dungeon master has their own interpretation of
inspiration.
I've always experienced that. So it's like it's kind of moot how they particularly state it.
In the old rules, I'm pretty sure it says you can re-roll any die. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that's all the same. And
you must use about all the rules, and none of them have changed. Yeah, we just don't play by the old rules.
Well, that's what this is all about, though, right? Because as a home brewer, like changing the rules just to be better, they're trying to get closer to like what an actual table is.
But it's pretty good because we try to abide by like all the rules.
Most of them, yes.
Generally, yeah.
But there are some that's like really, really shit.
I would love to know if at some point they put in a variant inspiration. Like that would be an interesting idea. I don't think they will, but All right, do we want to look at dehydration?
Yeah, let's look at all the conditions, see what new stuff they got.
Dehydration hazard. A creature requires an amount of water per day based on its size, as shown in the water needs per day table. A creature that drinks less than half the required water for a day gains 1 exhaustion level at the day's end. Exhaustion caused by dehydration can't be removed until the creature drinks the full amount of water required for a day.
This
So
goes.
a tiny needs a quarter a gallon, small 1 gallon, medium 1 gallon, large 4 gallons, huge 16 gallons, and gargantuan for 64.
This goes back to fucking encumbrance. No one's gonna use this. There's no
Unless-
reason to have this.
Unless you're doing like a
I know.
hardcore survival apocalypse campaign, no one's gonna really.
I'm pretty sure this exists just to compensate for Lakatha.
Probably.
Does anyone recall what Lakatha has to do every day, every 4 hours? It has to submerge itself. Lakatha dries up after 4 hours without water.
Oh, also like grung. I think.
I don't think the
frogs.
grungs need that. The grungs don't need that. Or at
They
least not as
also
much.
have malnutrition, which I'm sure is the same thing.
Malnutrition is that
So these are all hazards.
malnutrition. Creature needs an amount of food, as shown
They've
on the food
changed
table.
falling.
Creature that eats but consumes less than half the required food succeed on a DC 10 con save or 1 exhaustion point. Eats nothing for 5 days, automatically gains 1 exhaustion level at the end of 5th day, as well as an additional level at the end of each subsequent day.
They put a fucking maximum on fall distance? Fuck you,
Yes.
game. That ain't how that works.
They put
They've
terminal
always had a
velocity
max.
in?
They put terminal velocity in Zion.
What's that labeled as?
Falling
Falling.
hazard.
Bitch, if I jump off of a fucking 80-story tower, you're not going to tell me that's the exact same damage as a 20-story tower.
Creature
Fuck
Are you
that
gonna
falls
die
six-
either
That's
way?
like 66 average damage.
Maximum
like,
of 20
handle that.
d6.
Max
You
out at
get some
20
bludgeoning
D6.
damage resistance.
So that's
no problem.
200 feet. That is 200 feet. Is that where you, at what point you reach terminal velocity generally?
I mean, it
Yeah,
probably is pretty
probably,
close. Yeah, I mean, 20 feet. But at the
Yeah.
same time, though, they did put a cap on it.
No,
did.
it's 1,500 feet.
Oh, so it's a little over. Okay. Well, they're being generous then.
Kind of.
No, wait,
Look,
no.
If you want to be,
that's
a
under.
rules lawyer,
I was getting
It-
confused. I got numbers
it's
confused.
the bottom part where a creature that falls into water or other liquid can use its reaction.
I do
to
like that.
DC 15 strength check for half damage. So, like, if you're
Make a
falling,
reaction to fall
you
into
can spit
lava.
on the ground, and you can say that you fall into other liquid.
So like honey
have-
or lava or other things.
You know, if there's an ooze nearby,
That's
you
true.
could fall into the ooze. It might be equally bad, but it would break your fall.
As a rules lawyer, it just says other liquid. That encompasses anything.
I see a puddle.
say how
I'm
deep.
landing in that. How thick is the puddle? 2 inches?
We'll
I
start an
survive.
acrobat team that does high dives into small buckets of water.
That is hilarious.
If you also want to look at the burning hazard, they've added more rules to being on fire.
Burning.
So a creature or object takes 1d4 fire damage at the start of each of its turn. As an action, you can extinguish the fire on yourself by giving yourself the prone condition and rolling on the ground.
Hey, that's
The
cool.
fire also goes out if doused, submerged, or suffocated.
I like that stop, drop, and roll. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that makes sense. I appreciate they actually put that in there.
But they've put actual rules to it because I think a lot of people, whenever people are on fire, they do like a solid D6. But they've set an actual damage to it, just a D4.
Blinded. Did they do anything to blinded? No.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if there's like anything really new.
Bloodied is just the term it's always been.
The
Yeah.
same, yeah. That might come into play.
Did they
if
alter any of
another
the movement
creature has
speeds?
an ability once bloodied.
They've added something new called emanation.
Oh, hold on. Give me a moment. I want to see this burrow speed. Oh, they actually gave us materials, specific materials you're allowed to burrow through. Sand, earth, mud, or ice. Can't
That's
burrow
nice.
through solid rock unless the creature has a trait that allows it to do so. Interesting.
Go down
All
to
right, so-
difficult terrain for a second.
Okay. Difficult terrain. All right.
Read that second one.
The second one, furniture that is sized for creatures of your size or larger.
So basically, if I go fuck a giant's couch, I am standing on that couch that's a flat surface, but it's furniture that's sized larger. So do I have to skate my ass over their couch?
That's difficult.
I'm guessing it's for like, it's like furniture that's in your way. So it's like if we're running around in a house, there's going to be a couch in the way. To get over that couch, it's considered difficult terrain.
Yes, but it's what happens if the fucking furniture.
Like, what if you're in like a gargantuan sized house where a bed is the size of a continent?
So, okay.
The entire bed is difficult terrain now.
A slope of 20 degrees or more, I feel like that's debatable, depending on where the fuck we are. I just laughed at that one, because all the other ones I agree with. I think they're pretty much the same. I agree with Caleb's description of furniture. Yeah, if shit's in your way, congratulations. But if my ass is killing a giant and I have to step on its fucking table to kill it, don't you tell me I can only move 20 feet. I'll be pissed. That's so weird.
All right. You said emanation?
Emanation. An emanation is an area of effect that extends in a straight lines from a creature or object in all directions. So it's just a straight explanation of like, hey, this is a thing that's coming out of you.
Emanation moves with the creature or object that is the origin unless it is instantaneous or a stationary effect.
So I'm guessing there's going to be more spells that have just straight effects of like, hey, you can emanate this spell from like a wall or something, which would be nice.
That'd be cool.
Or like a geyser.
Weird.
So
it's kind of like. I was gonna say it's basically just pick a creature or object in a certain within a certain radius that becomes the source of the spell. It's basically a word to summarize all of that.
Yeah.
What else we got?
The exhaustion is different.
Oh, let's look at this. By of exhaustion condition, you experience the following effects. Exhaustion levels. This condition is cumulative. Each time you receive it, you gain 1 exhaustion level. You die if you're level 6 exhaustion. That makes sense. D20 tests affected. You make D20 test. The roll is reduced by 2 times your exhaustion level. 2 times?
So that effect is cumulative instead of just disadvantage. So now if you got level 4, you're automatically 8 times reduction on
whoa.
Is that
you're not gonna get that high up most of the time, but that's a big difference from what it has been.
Yeah, but
it.
It's worse though, because think about it. Say that I'm a level 20. All of my rolls are plus fucking 15. Who gives a fucking shit if it's -4? It's still a plus 10.
That's fair.
But at level 20, you're not going to get exhausted.
But it's just all D20 tests, period, the end. Doesn't matter if it's a saving throw, an ability check, an attack roll. Doesn't matter what it is. If you're rolling a D20, you get this negative.
It's
also,
simpler,
your speed
though.
is reduced.
Because I will say this, every time we do exhaustion, we have to fucking look it up in Google. Okay, what are the levels of exhaustion? Having a blanket statement of what it is not a bad idea.
And then
it makes things a lot.
Exhaustion affects everything, you know. It affects your strength, your speed, your handling of your sword.
Your speed is reduced by 5 times your exhaustion level. So
that
goes up quick.
A long rest removes all exhaustion, right? Or is a long rest only remove?
It removes one.
In the old rules?
Yeah,
yes.
Even in the old rules. If you take a long rest, you take away 1. Unless you cast a spell that reduces it more.
Yeah.
We kind of used to hand wave that.
We
away.
do.
By the time you got a decent rest, you're like, fine, you know.
Well, because if you don't, like, say we're sitting at a table, right? And you guys just got done with a grueling dungeon. You got outside, you got 4 levels of exhaustion. What are you as players going to do? Yeah, I want fucking sleep for 4 days in a row, please, to get rid of all this bullshit. That's not fun. That's not enjoyable.
No. see, did they change expertise at all?
Mm-mm.
And if you're
Double
exhausted,
proficiency
if you
still.
get one good night's
Okay.
sleep, you're back to normal in real life, you know?
Or at least like remove half of it, right? Like say if I had a really, really shitty day, I wake up the next day, I'm feeling all right-ish. 2 days, you're over anything besides being sick.
Right?
Should we look at the attitudes?
Why not?
What are those?
These are the things that
You already read.
you know how
for-
your friend.
You already read over them. It's all under influence.
No, yeah, but they weren't exactly the same. They've got slight wording to them, different wording on them in each one. A friendly creature views you favorably. You have advantage on an ability check to influence a friendly creature.
So that'd be nice, especially if you have like a barkeep or a shopkeeper, if you've done a lot of favors for them, you're like, hey, could you like reduce this price a little bit? You'd have advantage against it.
Okay, so again, it's no different from what players already do. It's just putting
Yeah.
words to it. Okay,
Yeah.
we don't need to look at the rest of them.
But see, I guess the problem with that is though, since it's like a fucking catch-all, every enemy you automatically disadvantage on. You're walking up to this king. The king
That's
doesn't
true.
fucking like you. Doesn't matter if he's never met you before. Immediate disadvantage. Hey, I would like to convince you not to burn that small village. Oh,
Yeah.
you're the player. Fuck you, disadvantage. That's kind of.
I mean, that's not 100% the true. If somebody comes up to you like an assassin or a sellsword, and they start attacking you, and you're like, dude, why are you attacking me? It's like, it's just a job. Then you could have a neutral influence to them. That's possible.
Well, no, but it says hostile creature though, and it's only giving you friendly or hostile. So
No, there's three stages to
indifferent.
it. Yeah, indifferent. Indifferent is the one that gives you friendly and what's the other one again?
Hostile.
Those two are guaranteed fail or success in combat.
And then the indifferent has 3 levels, right?
Yes.
Difficulty.
Indifferent has 3 different levels that let you influence them to different degrees. So if you have an indifferent enemy like again a sellsword, they might be a little more willing to work with you, especially if you offer them more money.
Mm-hmm.
Which again is nothing new to us. It's DM
discretion. A general explanation for people that are new, which is really nice.
I would like to go over the grappling to see if there's anything.
I was looking at that just now.
They have changed grappling
when you
grappled, a little bit.
Grappled condition, you experience the following effects. Speed 0, attacks affected, you have disadvantage on attack rolls against any target other than the grappler, which is normal. Movable, the grappler can drag or carry you when it moves, but every foot of movement costs 1 extra foot unless you are tiny or two or more sizes smaller than it.
So our gargantuan creature can just grab you and carry you around.
Interesting.
That's what it should be, though. But no.
Oh, then the grappling action. That's the grappled
action
condition. What's the grappling action? A creature can grapple another creature. Characters typically grapple by using an unarmed strike. Many monsters have special attacks that allow them to quickly grapple prey. However, a grapple is initiated, it follows these rules. Grappled condition.
Unarmed strikes are now counted as grappling, so that gives monks a considerable boost.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. So if you throw an unarmed strike, you could choose to grapple with it. That's interesting.
Wow, that's pretty cool for them. That
is a nice buff. That is a nice buff.
If you can grapple with like a +9 modifier, bro, you're going down.
Oh. So grappled condition. Successfully grappling a creature gives it the grappled condition. 1 grapple per hand. A creature must have a hand free to grapple another creature. Some stat blocks and game effects allow a creature to grapple using a tentacle, maw, or another body part. Whatever part a grappler uses, it can grapple only 1 creature at a time with that part, and the grappler can't use that part.
With that part.
To
So
use
you
that
can
part to
still do
target another
two
creature.
fist grapple on 2 people, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, you could grapple 2 people at once.
and then escaping a grapple. A grappled creature can use its action to make a strength athletics or a dexterity acrobatics check against the grapple's escape DC, ending the condition on itself on a success. The condition also ends if the grappler is incapacitated, has the incapacitated condition, or if the distance between the grappled target and the grappler exceeds the grapple's range. Interesting. So that's somewhat new. Like,
Wait,
I don't think we've ever used dexterity to try to break a grapple, but
Yeah.
it's
Yes.
not unreasonable.
No, that's part of the old rules. You can use dexterity or athletics to break it, but to pin it, you have
I
to
don't
use
remember.
strength.
Yeah, it's the same. But now
I don't remember us ever doing that, so that's kind of like new to me. But
it kind of just goes. Yeah, I mean, you're supposed to be able to use whatever's better, though.
yeah.
But now, how they change when a player does the grappling is different. 8 plus your strength modifier plus your proficiency bonus.
Wait, where?
You have to go back to unarmed strike.
Click on unarmed strike, Zion. It's right there.
Yeah. You're right. So unarmed strike. Instead of using weapons to make melee attack, you can use a punch, kick, headbutt, or similar forceful blow. In game terms, this is an unarmed strike. Melee attack that involves using your body to damage, grapple, or shove a target. When you use an unarmed strike, choose one of the following. Damage, you make an attack roll. That's all the same. Grapple. The target must succeed on a strength or dexterity saving throw. It chooses which. Or it has the grappled condition. The DC for the saving throw and any escape attempts equals 8 plus your strength modifier and proficiency bonus. This grapple is possible only if the target is more than one size larger than you, and if you have a hand free.
That all right there, 100% worse.
No more than one. Okay, so no more than one, sorry.
A barbarian that has maxed out strength that would normally have advantage on a grapple check doesn't fucking matter anymore. 8 plus 5 plus a max of like
6.
So, congratulations. 14, 16, 18. There are fucking monsters.
Unless you're a monk.
Yeah, a monk would be able to switch the strength.
Or a barbarian might be able to pull out something good with that.
But I'm saying, like, when you're going head to head,
make it better.
I'm hoping.
There are
when you
probably
go
feats.
Head to head, you will lose every time you try to grapple a not even a strong creature. It's just a fucking normal creature.
Grapple a villager, you're gonna probably fail somehow.
Now I'm suddenly very curious how they've done the grappler feat. I am excited to see how they've reworked that, if at all.
You want to take?
I wonder if they adjusted some of the fighters grappling moves too.
Ooh.
Thinking about character creation. Let's move on to chapter 2, creating a character.
Thank you guys for checking out today's video. We post videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for more glorious D&D content. Please like, comment, subscribe, throw it all down below. We always appreciate it, and we will see you guys next week.